YouTube Nation, Maven TV, aka me TV, aka this one's for JJ. We're gonna talk about this today. That's right. I will put it like this. I want to say Happy New Year. I want to say Happy Holidays. I hope everyone had a happy and safe New Year with your loved ones and everything. And you notice every time I take a break when it comes to this type of stuff, something happens, does it not? And then I gotta come back early. You know what? I'm getting real tired of coming back early from my breaks. I really am, but I gotta get this off my chest. I'm like this. For the rest of this week, I gotta do videos. I gotta get things off my chest before I explode at this point. This is ridiculous with what I'm seeing, all right? Now, comic fans, I know you're not used to me doing these type of videos, but guess what? Now it's here, and guess what? Now you gotta deal with me. And I put it like this. We are going to talk about one, Spider-Man 700. That's right, we gotta talk about this, all right? This is garbage. This is absolute trash. I can't believe somebody let this go. Now, I'll put it like this. Before this started, all right, we know the news had broke. Spider-Man 700 was coming out, and you guys on the fan page, you had said, it's a shame what happens, but as true comic fans, you don't spoil anything. You don't. And that's the great part, because and everyone was talking, no one spoiled anything. You get what I'm saying? So I'm thinking to myself, why? I'm supposed to go pick up Spider-Man 700 later that day. So I'm going on Yahoo to see what kind of sports they have, just to see how ridiculous they can get as usual. And then this shows up on the front page. Seriously, Yahoo, so you couldn't put a question mark next to Peter Parker's death, huh? You couldn't put a question mark there, no. You just let it ride like that. So you spoiled it for every comic book fan. Are you serious? That's a joke, all right? And you should be ashamed of yourself for doing that. But we all know how this goes. If you're on the internet, if something happens, it's on the internet, then guess what? That means that you might as well just lay low and just not go on the internet, because somebody's stupid enough to spoil it for you. You get what I'm saying? So, without any warning, I should say. So, anyways, I want to move on, all right, because I want to talk about, because after I found out what happened with Peter Parker, I said to myself, okay, I'm still going to go get this book later today, because that's when I was supposed to get it, and I just want to see how it all plays out, all right? And that's what upset me more than the death of Peter Parker, was the way it played out. Now, I'll put it like this. I want to start off with the cover, okay? Because if you look at the cover, this cover is great. It didn't have the variants that I wanted, so I got the original cover, and it's a great cover due to the fact that it's probably the only positive part, I'll say, and a small other part in Spider-Man in this book, of this book, is the fact that if you look at the cover, there are so many people on the cover, all right? Captain America, the Hulk, you got JJ, you got, Rhino, Mary Jane, understand you got Venom going around Spider-Man, all the different, times of Spider-Man, the eras of Spider-Man going around. I put it like this, it goes to show you all the people that Spider-Man has influenced, and especially as us being kids and reading Spider-Man, or as a reader or a viewer or a comic book fan, it definitely plays a part. It's really, I put it like this, the cover is more of a celebration of Spider-Man than it is an actual mourning of Spider-Man. You get what I'm saying? So, I'm going to move on, because this is a great cover. Carnage is on it. Everyone, there's a lot of people on this cover. Now, I will put it like this. Starts off really good, all right? I like the fact that Peter actually had to talk to, he was talking to, characters of the past who have passed on, talking, and he always feels guilt the fact that he wasn't able to save certain characters. You know what I mean? He talks to Gwen Stacy, he talks to his parents, he talks to Uncle Ben, he talks to a lot of people. You know what I mean? And I thought that part was great of it, because as much as he always feels that he's always failed, people, they reassure him that he did not fail. Their death was for a greater cause, and that's what it comes down. That's the best part of this book. All right, that's the meaning of it. You know what I mean? Like I said, they started off really well with Spider-Man, and then after that, it went downhill. Now, for those who don't understand what's going on in the previous issues, I play this. Doc Ock decided apparently he's a great genius, and we're going to talk about that a little bit too, because that's absolutely ridiculous. All right, yeah, I said it. Now, Doc Ock switched bodies with Spider-Man. All right, so Peter Parker's Doc Ock. Doc Ock is actually Peter Parker. Okay, now that's just to bring you up to speed. Peter Parker is an aging body in Doc Ock. He only has a certain amount of time to live, okay? Now, he was supposed to die before Peter, Peter got a chance to break out of jail with some hired help, all right? I'm not going to say who, but with some hired help, he broke out of jail, and he's going to attempt to try to get his body back. That's the entire point of the story. That means New York City's not in danger. That means, the world is not in danger. So if anyone was expecting Peter Parker to, die while saving the Earth via, Superman or something, it wasn't going to happen. This was a personal grudge. That's what it was. Peter was trying to get his life back, and he died trying. That's what it's about, okay? Now, the entire time, Peter is trying to, get his body back. He's going to Avengers, HQ and stuff. And it's very interesting because everything he does backfires. It's interesting because Peter Parker, and I want to talk about this, Peter Parker is smarter than Doc Ock. And there's a line in here about how Doc Ock, and they try to, sell it. He has a superior mind. He's one of the greatest minds. Look, I'll put it like this. Doc Ock is not a great mind. In the Spider-Man universe, he is, okay? But overall, Marvel universe, he's not. Think about it. The top three are who? Tony Stark, Reed Richards, and T'Challa, Black Panther. They're the top three, smartest minds in the Marvel Universe. Then you have other people as well, like Doctor Doom. I mean, I'm willing to put Professor X up there. There's so many people who are smarter than Doc Ock. So don't give me this all of a sudden that he's on this, dare I say, I don't want to say genius level. Doc Ock's a genius. But this God tier level when it comes to mind manipulation, and he can get away from all this. Look, if Dr. Octopus is this smart, how did Peter Parker, for years, beat Dr. Octopus? For years. You gonna tell me just all of a sudden he just smartened up and all of a sudden he can just beat Spider-Man? I mean, come on. This is why I didn't understand. Now, I understand they're trying to give it, they're trying to give Doc Ock more, how can I put this, more legitimacy. I understand that. That's what the writer, Dan Slott, is trying to do here, and I'm going to talk about him, all right? Because at this point, I'm very upset with him. But anyways, it's not going to work. After years and years that we've seen with Doc Ock, it's ridiculous that you would go this route. It just is. I don't understand this. Now, I will put it like this. As it goes along, Spider-Man tries to get into Avengers HQ, right? And, of course, it's failing at the time because Doc Ock apparently knew he was going to be there. And, of course, Avengers HQ, they recognize that Doc Ock is Peter Parker, okay? They recognize it. So they're not, security systems won't attack Doc Ock, but they'll go after Peter Parker, the real Peter Parker, as Doc Ock, okay? Now, mind you, like I said, the entire time, Peter Parker's body is failing on him, so he's got to use as much strength as he can. Peter Parker has J. Jonah Jameson and all his family members and loved ones in a safe house. Now, mind you, J. Jonah Jameson, look, I'll put it like this. JJ is now the mayor. And I love about this. I love that. Because, as you've seen, it's a progression of the character for JJ due to the fact that, he started with the Daily Bugle and now he's a mayor. He's always had that type of mouth. He's always had that type of tabloid or propaganda with him. It makes sense. That I like. All right, now, I will put it like this. JJ he's not afraid of anything. All right, we all know this. He has heart. Doesn't mean he can actually fight, but he has heart. Villains go after him. It's interesting how Peter tried to approach things when it came to being Doc Ock, because every time there was a, dare I say, a firefight, he always ordered people, do not kill the police. Do not take, take lives. Let them survive, you know what I mean? And a lot of, the villains are starting to question Peter Parker as Doc Ock, saying, what's wrong with him? And they say, well, maybe he's feeling guilty because he's on his way out and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting. All right. But you understand Peter as Doc Ock still has a good heart. It just goes to show you that Spider-Man is there. He's pure. You know what I mean? No lives should be taken. Now, Doc Ock, on the other hand, as Spider-Man, doesn't care. And he doesn't get it at the time. And this is what I don't understand. Because as it goes on, he's getting bits and pieces of Spider-Man's memory. You get what I'm saying? So in the final fight of this book, they do this, Dan Slott does this cop-out, which is horrible, all right? Because I'm telling you now, the lead up to this book was not good. It just wasn't. Like, when you got the initial chase, it was like, okay, I'm there. And then afterwards, it just fell apart. And then when Peter and Doc Ock decide to fight at the end, the final fight where they're falling, Peter pulls, well, I shouldn't say Peter, I should say Dan Slott pulls this move that we've seen before, because he goes on, saying, Doc Ock, I'm going to give you my pain, I'm going to give you my emotions. You're going to understand why Spider-Man is the way he is. And, as it goes on, Doc Ock also understands that Spider-Man's been holding back a very long time when it comes to his physical power. He understands that. So, because there's restraint with Spider-Man, he doesn't want to kill anyone. So, here's the thing. When Peter gives Doc Ock all of his pain, all of his memories, I'm thinking to myself, where have I seen this before?
I have something to give you. I don't want it anymore. 30 hours of pain. All at once. All for you.
And that's where I draw the line. It goes to show you that Dan Slott, and I'll say Joe Q as well, because Joe Q should be, he's responsible for this for a number of years. We're going to talk about this later, all right? But Dan Slott, pretty much, it was a cop-out. He didn't know how to end it. He didn't know what to do. And then he goes on talking about how, since when Peter passes on, when he passes, because it's a sad scene for Peter. It really is. When he passes on, Doc Ock talks about, well, I still have this great intellect that was smarter than Peter's. I'll become a superior Spider-Man. Are you serious? Now I want to talk about this because Marvel has done this with Spider-Man for so long. You know, I'm so tempted to say leave Peter Parker alone, leave Spider-Man alone, just yell it. I'm not going to, all right? But I'll put it like this. It's got to the point where Spider-Man is the most recognizable figure in Marvel. He is, all right? No doubt about it. But I'll put it like this. You're using Spider-Man as like this personal whipping boy, and I don't understand, so we're going to talk about this right now, all right? Look. Everyone remember, that's right, Back in Black, all right? Spider-Man, look, I'll show you all this. Death of Aunt May, okay? Goes into the jail, goes into jail to fight the Kingpin, okay? Goes in, he breaks into prison to fight Kingpin because he's so mad because Kingpin set him up after Civil War, okay? Since they knew his identity. Now, I put it like this. I want to talk about this. I'm sure this one you people will remember. One More Day, all right? Now I want to talk about this, and this is exactly why. Because understand that when Spider-Man, as usual, when they have a good story with Spider-Man, and he has had his limit, and he doesn't know where he's going to go, they screw it up. They screw it up every time. All right, they give him some type of way out, and I put it like this. And when Peter Parker died, they did give him a way out. I won't mention it because if you read the book, you'll know. That's one thing I won't give you. But they did leave a small door open there. Okay, now I put it like this. With Spider-Man, with One More Day, they changed it, and what did they do? They gave you a new Amazing Spider-Man, did they not? They gave you all these issues. They wanted to continue a different Spider-Man. It's the same thing. It's the same angle with this Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, the end of an era is over, but we'll give you a new book called Superior Spider-Man. It's the same thing. It's a money grab. That's all it was. That's all it ever was with Marvel. And you know, and this is why I said Joe Q, I'm putting like this. With Joe Q, he has done this too many times where he has greenlit garbage. Dan Slott has done this as well. And I point this because Dan Slott loves to kill characters. I mean, seriously, should we talk about this? Look at this. Can you see that? One will die. Who's right? Who wrote that? Can you see that? Dan Slott. See, this is what they do. Ever since Civil War, Marvel has decided to kill off people left and right. This is why I stopped collecting Avengers Initiative. Because somebody was dying almost every episode. I don't understand this, all right? But I will talk about it like this. Joe Q and Dan Slott, after this, I feel they need to be fired. That's right, I feel they need to be fired. Not because they killed off Spider-Man, but because it's the same thing over and over for a number of years. Joe Q obviously isn't qualified to man the ship this way. He's what, the chief, was it the chief advisor or something like that? He mans the ship right now. I'm sure if I look in the book it'll say, but he's like the chief creative director or something like that. It's ridiculous. Look, if Joe Q, like this, if you don't fire Joe Q, what you need to do is demote him. Let him go back to making Quasar. Let him go do that, as far as I'm concerned. Dan Slott should be ashamed of himself for trying to use this easy out. And that's not all. Because then Stan Lee saw what happened to Spider-Man, and he took a shot at Dan Slott. It was a friendly shot, but he took a shot at Dan Slott on his birthday. Not only that, but angry comic book fans started fishing this picture around as well. Once the majority of the comic book fandom read the book and was disgusted by the book, just like me, here's the difference though. I'm going for their jobs, alright? They sent Dan Slott death threats. That's right, via Twitter. I'm going to put the link in the info bar for you guys. They sent him death threats. Now, that's absolutely wrong. It's wrong to do, and I put like this. We saw this before with, with Superman. All right, when Superman died, when he got killed by Doomsday, people were sending, writers death threats. They didn't know how to go about it with Superman. All right, they just didn't. And I put like this. This is not the first time Peter Parker has died. You know he's going to come back. I put like this. Two right off the top of my head. Infinity Gauntlet saga. Okay, during Spider-Man's run in Infinity Gauntlet in his own book, because all the books usually cross over, which equals more money. I'll put like this. Spider-Man saves a person and a building falls on him and kills him. It crushes him. All right, saving a person. They brought him back in that very same book, right? All right. Then, when he goes up there to go fight Thanos with the rest of the heroes, he dies there too. And they brought him back then. So understand that Peter Parker will be back. But it's a shame to see how it all went down. It almost shows that there is a lapse in writing. Dan Slott, if you are not the type of writer, and I put it like this, I don't know if they're putting you on too many projects. I don't know if you're just burned out. I mean, seriously, I need an explanation on why you think it was okay to just take this from, the Crow. Because that's what it is. The difference between that is Top Dollar falls to his death in The Crow, and Doc Ock just says, I understand now. So you're telling me out of all these years, all right, all of a sudden, he understands now. Seriously, that's what you just did. And, you know, the greatest mind that you try to build him up to be, such an intelligent mind, granted, he's fueled by arrogance, but an intelligent mind, he couldn't talk to Peter? After all these years? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It's such a cop-out. It's so bad. All right? I don't understand why people are coming to his defense. I understand, like I said, you should not be sending him death threats at all. That's horrible. All right? It's a comic book. And I understand the passion because you can see it in me. All right? That you don't do this to people, you know, to the characters that us growing up as kids, you know, read and we watched and we played as Spider-Man. You know what I mean? I've been a Spider-Man fan since I was a kid wearing pajamas with the footies. That's right. Spider-Man pajamas with the footies. Understand that you are messing with people's emotions like that. And Marvel, and you know, DC has done the same thing. DC, they had to reboot their entire universe. All right? But understand, Marvel, DC, or whatever comic, understand you don't need to keep killing characters off for shock value. You don't. It goes nowhere. I'm not trying to hear, well, this is how the real world works. It's comic books. This is why it's an escape from reality. That's why. All right? I understand people have to die every once in a while, but Marvel is just, they got like this checklist. All right, who are we going to kill off next? All right, him. I mean, seriously, you know how many people were mad about Human Torch? You know how many people were mad? The only death I actually liked within the previous couple of years was Captain America. It's the way it went down. That's why. It was like almost like a presidential assassination. That's what it felt like. It went down that way. Like I said, it's not just about the death of a character. It's the way you do it. And I feel Dan Slott cheaped out everybody. And like I said, in this book was $8. It was $8. You know what I mean? It's just for $8 and that's what you give us? That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Personally, like I said, I would want an explanation on why you felt it was okay. And I mean from Dan Slott and Joe Q greenlighted it, all right? And then afterwards, I think the fans deserve an apology. I really think they do, all right? It's just ridiculous. Oh, and people just say, well, it is what it is. No, that's not right. It's not. But you did your job by hyping it up and getting people to buy the book. That's what you did, and you made some money off of it. That's what you did. And it's sad that you did that. And then you wonder why the comic book industry is pretty much, I don't want to say in shambles, but they're hurting right now. Now you know why. The only thing that's kept you afloat is the fact that Hollywood is starting to take your books and run it in the movies. That's all it is. Without Hollywood actually taking on these projects or whatever, you'd be screwed. I put it like that because Marvel, you haven't done that many great, animated movies as opposed to DC. DC cranking out animated movies and they're quality too. You need to get on the level. You do. And I've always said DC has great animated movies. Marvel has had great live action movies, you know, except for some, all right? But other than that, you need to get on the level, Marvel. This is something that shouldn't keep happening. Stop killing off characters. It makes no sense. Anyways, y'all, I'm done. I'll be back tomorrow. Y'all be safe. I'm out.